NBA totals for Monday, November 28th. We got 3 games we're going to be looking at today in our NBA total segment. Don't forget our NCAA segment as well. Also, don't forget to check out SBR. We got all the numbers, sportsbook reviews, sportsbooks to avoid, sign up bonuses, things like that. So be sure to check out SBR. Let's go ahead. Let's jump into today's game. We got 3 of them we're going to be looking at. First one up here is Sacramento and Washington. Oddsmakers have it at 210. I'm going to go under the 210. I'm still a little confused about this Washington team, but I don't think we're going to get there. I think 210 is a little bit too much with a Sacramento team and a Washington team that don't allow a lot of attempts. Scoring wise, let's just break it down. Here we go. We got Sacramento, they're averaging 102.5 points per game, and Washington 102.1. Now, Washington's allowing 105 points per game, and Sacramento's allowing 105 points per game. There we get to our 210, but I don't think they're going to be able to score to get there, because right now you got Sacramento, they're averaging just 82.4 attempts per game. That's really low. That ranks 4th to last in the NBA. And Washington is allowing 83.4 attempts per game. That ranks 9th. Shooting percentages are not that bad. They're both about the middle of the league. You got Washington shooting just right at 45%. That's 15th. Sacramento, they're shooting 45.1%. That's 13th. So defensively, Washington has not been very good, but it seems like, recently they've had a couple tough matchups, I think. It's particularly the last one versus San Antonio. At Orlando, not such a big deal, but Phoenix, a team that can really score, they allowed just 101 points. So I think Scott Brooks is trying to focus a little bit more on defense. They didn't play that well against San Antonio, but San Antonio is super efficient, way more efficient than Sacramento. Sacramento, their pace, what they're allowing right now is just 80.9 attempts per game. That ranks 4th in the league. Washington still wants to go pretty fast because they have good guard play, but I think Sacramento is going to be able to, mitigate that to some extent. Fast break points, they can get up down the floor a little bit, but Sacramento doesn't, with just over 10 fast break points per game. And Washington's about in the middle of the league in opponent fast break points. So, you want to see if they are going to get out in transition and get up and down. But I just don't see it happening tonight. Neither team is particularly super efficient, both about the middle of the league. I think Sacramento is good enough defensively to get enough stops. So is Washington. This 210, that's a lot of points. I just don't think they're going to get there in this matchup. So I'm back under with Sacramento and Washington. Next one up, we got Oklahoma City and New York. Completely opposite for this game. Oddsmakers have it at 215. I think they're going over. Oklahoma City's really starting to push some tempo now. Against Detroit the other night, they scored 106, but they only allowed 88. New York's been just going really super fast. Let's look at some stats here. We got Oklahoma City averaging 106.8 points per game. New York's averaging 103.3. But New York is averaging 89 attempts per game. That ranks first, 89.1. That ranks first in the NBA. And they're both allowing tempo as well. As New York's allowing over 85 attempts, Oklahoma City's allowing almost 88 attempts per game. And Oklahoma City's getting up 88 attempts, which ranks 6th. They rank 3rd in field goals made per game. This is a good Oklahoma City team, even without Durant, as they're starting to show that they're shooting, almost 46% from the field. That's really good. New York's shooting about 45% from the field, but similar to the game we just looked at with Washington and Sacramento, but the pace is so much different. These teams really like to get up and down, and defensively, they're worse than Sacramento and Washington, with New York allowing over 106 and Oklahoma City allowing over 105. As well, you got a team in Oklahoma City that just loves to get out in transition, averaging almost 18 fast break points per game. That ranks 2nd in the league. So they both could shoot. They both like to push the tempo. I think we're going to get over. I think it's going to be a real fast game here with Oklahoma City and New York. All right, last one up here. We got Utah, Minnesota. Out of the 3 games, this one I looked at the longest because the line really bugs me at 196, but I just couldn't pull the trigger on the over. I'm going under the total of 196. I just don't see it happening. Minnesota, tough game versus Golden State the other night, but Utah's really controlling pace right now, like better than anybody in the NBA. They're going super slow. Minnesota, I don't think they're going to have a problem with that in this matchup. Let's go and let's take a look at some numbers here. We got Utah averaging 96.6 points per game. Minnesota's averaging 103. Minnesota's allowing 103.5 points per game. That ranks in the middle of the league. That's not terrible. Utah's allowing just 92.8. That ranks first in the league. And Utah also ranks first in opponent fast break points per game, opponent overall shooting percentage, opponent effective field goal percentage, opponent 2-point shooting percentage, opponent shooting efficiency. I mean, they rank first in everything, and that's because their pace. They go so slow. They're averaging just 78.7 attempts per game. That ranks last in the NBA, or first, depending on how you want to look at it. Minnesota, they're only allowing 80.1 attempts per game. That ranks third. So unless these guys shoot out of their minds, I just do not see them getting there. Now, that might happen because Utah, they're shooting 51% on their 2-point shots, and they're pretty efficient, ranking 11th in the league in efficiency and effective field goal percentage. Minnesota does not step things up defensively. Minnesota can shoot the three really well, and Utah defends it, subpar. But they're shooting, just over 44% from the field, which is not great, and they're about in the middle of the league in efficiency. But the pace, Minnesota, they're averaging just 83.6 attempts per game. And again, I already talked about Utah. They're allowing just 82.1. I have a hard time thinking they're going to get over the total unless they shoot out of their minds. I don't see them getting there. So I'm going to go ahead and take under the total with Utah and Minnesota, that 196. Quick recap. Here we go. We got Sacramento, Washington under the 210, Oklahoma City, New York over the 215, and Utah, Minnesota under the 196. Those are our NBA picks for totals today for Monday. And be sure to check out SBR, and I wish you luck on your picks today.
Go to SBRodds.com. Browse, compare, and shop live odds available at top online sportsbooks.